Hello and welcome back to another video. In this video, we are going to discuss activity life cycle in Android and why we use activity life cycle and what are the different states in this life cycle of Android application. So for this, we must know about the structure of activity life cycle. In Android, basically, let me open this. When we have a basic activity is launched, and what is activity we consider it as a user interface or a single screen with which the user can interact with. For example, if I say that whenever a user opens some kind of screen, like we can say a chat app or something, it is just a single screen with which the user can interact. So it is thus having different states when an activity is launched. So why we need to understand this activity life cycle? Because it helps us to create robust and efficient Android applications. So it is very crucial for us to first understand this activity life cycle. Whenever we are going to create applications, what are the different kind of states from which it is going through, and what are their different activities performing on this methods. These are just like functions, or we can say methods, like on create, on start, on resume, on pause, and on stop. These are the different states: on destroy, and when the activity launch, from activity launch to activity shutdown. These are the different states from which it is going through. So first we have on create method. So it is when the activity is created, is just in the created state. So at this point the activity is instantiated, but it is not visible to user and it's not started yet. So it is just like we can say that it is the method when the activity is created. You It is just like any startup work that is required to the activity, such as initializing or setting up the views, binding data, or setting up the user interface. So the on create method is called once during the life cycle. And so it is just unless the life cycle is destroyed and recreated. So it is just like we can say the a startup of setting up of the user interface on create method. But in on start, we can say that the activity become visible to the user. It is starts to become in the it is running in the foreground. The user can then it is just like setup. After the setup, we have typically do any kind of setup, and the activity is now starts to become visible to the user. It is just like on start, like it is starting the activity, it is starting and launching the application. So it is just like setting, preparing to play audio, starting a network request or locations. The on start method is called every time the activity comes into the foreground, even if the activity was previously stopped or not. So it is important to implement these two, because this is the starting. When the activity is launched, the on create on start method is called first every time. It is properly initialized and ready to display to the user. So on the next we have on resume. In on resume method, it is just like a state in which activity is resumed for it is in the foreground, and now like user can now starts to interact with it. On start, the user is the state is not visible to user. Okay, the activity is not visible to user, but it is in the foreground. But on resume, the user can interact with the screen, or we can say activity. But in on start, the user cannot interact. It is not visible to the user. It is not in the foreground. But on resume, it is in the foreground, and the user starts to interact with it. And then we have the activity running state. The activity is comes into the foreground. This means that after this is a launch, first three states is launching the activity, and then the activity starts running. Okay, and then we have on pause. method, and this is when the activity pause due to some reason. For example, the activity is blocked by some other activity, or maybe the user is using some other app, starts to use other app, or maybe some other activity disrupts its running state, and it becomes pause, and it comes into is no longer visible to user. It is due to two reasons, or may user can returns to its activity and goes to the resume state, like it starts to interact with the in which we starts to interact with the user interface activity. Or an on pause is due to some like memory issues, and it can become pause. Or the app process skills, the user navigates, and then the activity is again launched and starts, like on create, on start, and on resume. And then the activity comes into these three states again. And then we have on stop. In on stop and on destroy are also the two methods that are a part of activity life cycle. It only occurs, like we can say that on stop is the method when the activity is no longer visible to the user, and this is happens when we have when the priority becomes other, and this is of low priority, so it becomes in pause state, and the user is using some other application maybe, or some other activity, so it becomes in the pause state, and it is still running in the background. Okay, the difference between on stop and on destroy is that it is still, I can say, okay, it is in the background, but it is not in the background on destroy. On destroy means that the activity is completely destroyed and stopped. It means that it is removed from the activity stack, or we can say that the activity is finished and the system free up some of the resources, and it is completely stopped, and it is just like to perform the cleanup and releases the resources. So it is important, but it is not necessary that on stop is called every time. Okay, this method is to ensure that the activity is properly initialized and ready to display to the user. But these two methods are on create and on start and on resume. These are the startup of the states of the activity, and this on pause, on stop, and on destroy is just for the activities coming in background and foreground, and it becomes it is just like changing these states here and there, because this is just like depend on the situation where the user is interacting with some other activity or application. So if the resources, if the like system don't have much resources, so it's gonna stop or destroy the activity. So I hope you understand this activity life cycle from here. And then for the practical implementation of this, I'm going to create new project for this, and see that what is actually the activity life cycle I'm trying to tell you. Maybe the practical demonstration helps you to understand that. So we have empty activity, and then we have I'm going to give it activity life cycle, and then I'm going to click on finish. So it's going to open the activity. Yes, it's, yeah. So this is now going to open the activity lifecycle project I have just made right now. So it will take some time to load, so that it is finished. Okay, to design the user interface, we don't need that much right now, the use activity screen design right now, but I'm going to take again some background for that, so that it looks pretty. For this, I'm going to use Pinterest wallpaper, and I have selected this one, or maybe I can use some other one as well. Let me save this image, or I can use some other one as well. This one is looking cool. To understand the activity life cycle, I'm just going to set background. If you don't know how to set the background, you can watch my previous videos as well. Okay, let me save it in downloads. Background. Okay, and then I'm going to copy that from downloads and paste it in drawable. Okay, so this is over activity. This is basically activity is just a single screen, this screen or user interface with the user can interact with. So first of all, I'm going to paste it in the drawable file, the one I copied right now. Okay, and I'm going to paste the background with the name BG. Okay, click on OK, and now it's done. See, here it is, the file. So how can I give it a background of that image? Okay, I'm going to first delete this one because I don't need that. And then moving to the code, I will give it a background and then drawable bg, and let me split and see that yes, here it is. It's look quite good and cool. So now moving toward our main topic, activity lifecycle. So this is the main Java file. Here I'm going to create methods. First of all, this is the one when on create method. This is the on create method. See that this is just called when the activity is first launched. Okay, this is the state when the activity is first created. It is created but not yet started. Okay, for start we need on start. Okay, so first I just give it a toast. If you don't know what is toast is, I was gonna make new video for that. It is just like a small pop-up message which is displayed when a user opens or click on some event or button. So I'm going to give it on create method, and then I'm going to, okay, let me make it more clear by giving it C. So this is on create method. Next, what we are going to do is I'm going to create on start, because we have next one is over on start. Okay, let me check it. Yeah, first we have on create, which is in instantiated already. It is just for launching purpose. And then we have on start. So let me create this dot on start method. And the super is just representing the parent class, and then I'm going to give it toast to display the message that when it is called. Okay, and it is like on start. And then again I'm gonna click on resume, the next one method, and gonna give it toast, and then the text will be on resume. And then again I'm gonna give it on pause. Okay, yeah, here it is on pause. And then I'm gonna click on this toast for displaying the message that the on pause is called, method is called. And then we have two more left. They like, let me check. Yeah, we have on pause and on stop and on destroy. Okay, on pause, and then we have on stop. Yeah, and on destroy method, let me give a toast for it, but it will not gonna call, because if we have a lot of resources taking up the like, it is going to block stop the activity when we are using too much applications. So in this tutorial I'm only gonna show you the on uh, first four states, which are the main states, and on stop and on destroy is called only on this situation when we um, is only called on the situation when we are going to destroy the application or just gonna shut down. So on destroy method is es. Destroy method is not there. Okay, on destroy method is called, and then we have toast and on destroy. Okay. We basically in methods, when we are declaring methods, we use camel case, which means that we are using it like the first letter is small, and then we have the second word, which is the first letter is capital. So we are using a method, and method is always camel case. Always remember that in camel case we have the first letter is small, and then if we are using the second word, then it is gonna have um, the capital letter. Okay, so now this is almost done, and let me run this application. If you don't know how to create your own virtual device, then I will gonna create one more video for this. I have already made one a running device, which is Alina Mobile, and I will surely gonna make new video for that, how you can create your virtual device, and it's like Gradle builds running in the background task, and it will gonna show soon that how our application looks like. And this is just for today, that you must understand the activity lifecycle. If you are interested in developing Android applications, then you must know the activity lifecycle. How is activity or launching, and what are the different phases from which the activity is going. Like these are the different states when the activity is first running or launched or stop. So these are the different process from which it is going to run. So our Gradle is almost finished. Gradle invocation finished, message is received, and it is going to launch the application right now. So we have to wait until it's done. Yeah, activity is done, and it's showing that launching app and successful, finished in 17 seconds. Okay, so it's connected. Here it is. Let me make it more clear. Yeah, okay. Yeah, here it is. And first it will show us pop-up post of on create and on start. Okay, its length is short. Yeah, let me resume that and see that if toast appears on see on pause, because we have launched it later. So first we have on create, then on start, and then it's gonna see on resume because it's resumed. See on resume. This is the toast basically. It's showing toast that I have paused right now. The activity is paused because I have just stopped using it. It's not stopped completely. It's paused right now, but it will stop completely if there are a lot of other if other applications are open and it's using too much resources, and it is in the less priority, so it's going to stop. So this is right now. If I'm going to open it again, let me open it again and see. Yeah, I'm going to open it the application again to see that whether it's working fine or not. See on create method is called. Okay, and then on pause, on create method is called, and then it's like on pause and then on resume, and then it will stop completely when there are more resources using it. I hope you like this video. Subscribe to my channel, like and share it, and until then, bye bye. See you in the next video.